Hello, I'm Dr. Devin Jensen, and I'll be your instructor for this offering of EDLD 8135, which is entitled Educational Planning. And this course will be offered during the fall 2012 semester. The dates for this particular class, we will get started here on the Monday, August 20th, and the course runs until, I think it's Friday, December 7th, or it's Thursday, December 7th, one of those days around there. And so it should be a good semester together. And so in the end, basically means that we have about 15 weeks of learning time together for this particular class. So it should be a good opportunity for us to study the content related to educational planning. And as is listed in the course syllabus, this graduate course is intended to introduce and define the nature of change and transformation in post-secondary education. We'll try to investigate some of the research models for planning and evaluation, as well as some of the practical change strategies and planning strategies that are available to us, and review and refine theories regarding transformation in post-secondary education using program planning and evaluation as the framework for this particular study. So that's just gives you a sense of kind of what this particular class is together. So the basic idea behind this particular class, I've got my syllabus up here and running, so I'm kind of looking at it as I'm discussing this with you. But the basic idea behind this class is that I structure my online classes around modules. And for this particular course, our modules, most of the modules will run for 2 weeks long. So other than the first module, because the course begins on Monday, each of the successive modules will become available for you beginning on the Tuesday at 10 a.m. So our first module, for example, runs from August 20th until September 3rd, and then the next module becomes available to you beginning on September 4th at 10 a.m. So all you have to do is just log into the course website sometime around that day, on that day, and then the module information will become available for you, and basically all you have to do is just complete the necessary assignments or projects or discussion forums or readings that are assigned for you for that particular 2-week time period. There are a couple of modules later on that we run for 1 week, but I'll make some notes on the course to let you know and to remind you that that particular module is only running for 1 week period. So it's pretty straightforward. And so once you get onto the course website, you will see the new learning modules become available to you, and all the information is contained within each of those relevant learning modules. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. And then, you know, as you know, for most of you, or if you haven't taken any online classes before, you basically can just structure it when you want to do the work. You know, some people are morning workers, some people like to take time during their lunch hours, some people work in the evening to complete the project. So, you know, it's pretty free for when you do the work. Just sometimes when we have discussion forums, it's more important to kind of, you know, get engaged a little bit earlier on so that we can carry a meaningful discussion rather than trying to just cram the discussion in on the last day of the module. You will have a total of 4 assignments and projects that you will be responsible for in this particular class. The first one is your participation, and that's where 25 points towards the 100 points that are set up in this particular class. And so basically that's just regular involvement in the class, you know, submitting assignments, being involved in discussions, and being involved in the content and the movement of the class as we go through it. So that's pretty straightforward. The second assignment that you will be responsible for is where you will need to interview a fund development officer. So pretty much all post-secondary institutions, whether it's a college or a university, have fund development people. The name you know, varies from institution to institution, but somebody who is responsible for funding campaign drives or you know, whatever the case may be to help generate revenue for the particular institution. And so you can basically, you want to get in contact with somebody and see if you can interview them. And basically, it will just be like a 30-minute interview, And in the interview, you're going to be talking to them to, things like, how does that individual fit into the hierarchy of the institution? In what ways does the person see fund development money impact academic programming at the particular institution? Do departments come to the development office and say, we need dollars? Or does the development office say, we have opportunities for you? How does that process work? So you're basically just trying to learn about the process and what goes on with a fund development officer. Now, this can be done in person if you do it, if you are at a institution, or you can do it over the phone, and you could contact any institution. So if you wanted to contact, maybe you might luck out and be able to get to talk to the fund development person, at Yale or Harvard, or it could be any institution across the United States that you might want to talk to, because you could do it over the phone. So you're not bound by, for example, just contacting the person here at Georgia Southern University. It would be interesting if you, could broaden the spectrum and interview people who are from out of the state or from a different post-secondary institution. All right, and then basically, then what you're doing is you're doing a write-up of a 4 to 5 page paper on what you learned from that interview and some of the common themes or patterns that were raised in the discussion that you had with that particular individual. And more details of that are given in the course syllabus. You will then also be responsible for a case study analysis, and in the case study analysis, I'm going to be giving you some information regarding some common viewpoints that we have regarding program planning and how the planning process happens. And then within those case studies, you will be assigned, into a group, and then the group will work together on analyzing the case that you have been given. And then there are a variety of steps in terms of how one analyzes a case that will be given to you, and then you can use that structure to do your analysis. And then the final document will be a 5-page paper of your write-up of your analysis of the case and what you learned from reading that, in light of these three viewpoints that we have regarding the program planning process. And then your final project is you will be required to design or evaluate an educational program. And so it may be something that you are specifically involved with, or that you have been involved with. And if you aren't involved in any type of program planning at your work or at this point in time, then you can do kind of a hypothetical. Maybe you've seen something going on and you'd like to design a program for that. It could be a first-year experience program, or it could be a particular, a faculty development program, anything of your nature that you think is related to and would be interesting for you to explore in the post-secondary higher education setting. And what you'll be then doing is using one of the program planning models that we will be looking at in this course to analyze or to evaluate or to design the program that you have. And so each of the program planning models that we will look at have a either a set of steps or a series of stages or a series of processes that one goes through in order to complete the requirements of that program planning model. You will then just use those elements as a guide to looking at the design or the evaluation of the program that you have. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that as the course goes on, but that's just a general idea of the course. So that's the basic component. We've got these modules that come up, generally speaking, every 2 weeks, that will have some information, some reading, some assignments, little discussion forums or projects that I'd like you to complete. And then you've got your, basically 3 assignments as well as participation that you'll be required to complete. And that's the essence of this particular class. So it should be really interesting looking at this particular class. And one of the things that we want to really consider when we look at the concept of educational planning is that the idea in taking a class like this is that we want to move away from just ad hoc planning, meaning we just sit down and decide this is what we want our program to look like, but to move more towards a structure where we're using systematic processes based upon theoretical models that guide the development or the evaluation of programs. As we know, there are tons of programs that are always offered on any post-secondary education campus, and so we want to make sure that we can do that in meaningful and purposeful ways so that we can create the programs that will be successful and recognize a variety of factors that come into play when we design any type of program and when we plan educational opportunities. So that's it. So look forward to this semester together. It should be a good time, and we will see you online. Take care.